Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello and welcome to Intentional Productivity Tips. My name is Megan and I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner, and thank you for joining us today. I, again, as always, am excited to talk about something important today. But first, I want to talk about something even more important. You are watching me on USA Global TV and Radio. You are able to like, subscribe, and be notified when new Intentional Productivity Tip episodes air, or you can look and check out the wide variety of other options and great shows that you can watch. Again, please remember, like, subscribe, and even be notified of when you have new shows on USA Global TV and Radio. But today, we're going to talk about something that's important and I think seasonally accurate when you think of the time of year we're in. Today, we're going to talk about the productivity of gratitude, taking time to appreciate yourself. I do have a presentation that I am going to share now, so we can take a look at how we can be and the importance of the productivity of gratitude and taking time to appreciate yourself. So let's get this presentation started. So on today's show, we are going to talk about two things. We're going to talk about reflecting on your year of 2024, and then we're going to talk about gratitude forward, intentional thankfulness for 2025. I'll be honest with you, there's many times when I've talked with my clients and I bring up things such as gratitude and talking about paying attention to what has gone well, whether it be, tracking or even just taking a time to write down victories or wins. I'll be honest with you, a lot of times when I'm working with clients and I bring this part up, when I start talking about, let's talk about gratitude. Let's look at some gratitude that you've got. I'll be honest, there have been some times that clients will kind of give me the side eye look, or they'll kind of wonder. And I've had times that even clients have said, why, Megan? I want to be productive. Let's work on being productive. Gratitude doesn't matter. And I always love when people say that, because I understand that that is absolutely how some people feel. Productivity is productivity and gratitude is something else. But I am going to help you today to realize that actually gratitude and being intentional with gratitude is going to increase your productivity. One day I had a client named Christian and he was like, Megan, why are we talking about this? It's not getting me anything done. And so then I said, well, Christian, I said, let's talk about last week when you were kind of bummed, right? Things weren't going well and you were kind of in a little bit of a bummed mood. I said, how much did you get done then? And the answer was, it took a little bit longer, right? When we're not feeling about ourselves, when we're not feeling good about what we're doing, what we're working on, or anything like that, when we don't have gratitude in our lives, we might get things done, but it's going to be a slog. It's going to take longer. If our mindset isn't in something, if we are not in a good mood, or if we don't have a sense of gratitude from the inside, it's definitely going to impact our productivity. So let's talk about reflecting on your year 2024. The more you reflect, the more you learn. It is absolutely true. So first thing that I would recommend, I would say to do this in 3 steps. So reflect on your 2024 in 3 steps. First, look back at your calendar. Look back at your calendar and see all of the things that you did. Look back at your calendar of 2024, and I actually have been doing that recently, and look and see what wins you had. Look at the things you might want to reflect on 2024. It could be, what were some of the adventures, some of the wins, some of the successes, some of the challenges, some of the times when you surprised yourself. The first step for reflecting on your year 2024 is to go back and to look at your calendar for 2024 up to this date and say, what are the things that you want to reflect on, the things you're grateful for? It's not just the happy, clappy times. We know it's also sometimes when we get through a challenge, that's also something we need to reflect. So, the first step that I always recommend is to look back at your calendar and ask yourselves the things you would want to reflect, the adventures, again, the kikis, the places you went on, the vacations, the lessons learned, all of those things. Once you've had a chance to reflect on it, the next step is you want to write it down. So I always recommend that you take a few minutes. Sometimes it's great to set a timer for 10 minutes. You can write for longer, but setting a timer sometimes when you're doing something gives you that focus. And so what I would say is write down as you've looked at your calendar, as you looked at the memories, the adventures, the challenges, what you've overcome when you surprised yourself, then write it down. Intentional reflection is the key to unlocking future growth. So take a moment to pause, jot down your thoughts, and create your personal gratitude playlist. It's going to be what you're thinking about and what you're remembering because it's more than a playlist, it's a celebration of your journey and a tool to fuel your next steps. One of the reasons that gratitude directly impacts productivity is because it is our momentum. It is the process that we're following through on. It's the attitude, it's our actions that we've been taking. So, the act of writing it down not only solidifies your reflections, but also turns gratitude into a tangible part of your journey. So, for 2024, what we're going to do again, we're going to go back and we're going to remember, we're going to pick up on the memories, we're going to write it down. Then, my third recommendation is to send yourself an email to me from me. It is a goal with this email, and I would say send it to yourself on December 31st. I would say probably about 4 o'clock on December 31st, 4 p.m., not a.m. Or you could anytime on December 31st, where you're going to write after you have just looked at the memories, the adventures, the gratitude. Send yourself an email that is going to ring in the new year. Because what better way to ring in the new year than with a love letter to yourself from 2024? So that is why we want to start thinking about gratitude. And we want to take this season, this time of year, to be thankful for what we've done and where we are right now, because then we'll be able to think about it when we're being thankful in 2025, right? So we're going to look at 2024. We're going to take the time and be intentional, because one thing I'm going to guarantee you, there are things you've done that you've forgotten about. There are projects that you've completed that you've forgotten about. When we think of how much we have going on in this day and age, there is so much that it truly can be overwhelming for us to remember. So taking time to go back and look at it is going to be huge help, because we'll be able to think about that moving forward. So it is so important for 2024 at this time of year to look back and say, the productivity of gratitude is going to help me to be more productive, to get more done, to be more in alignment with my personal priorities, and to be headed to where I want to go. Remember, we all work really, really hard for these lives that we live, don't we? We spend a lot of time doing the things that we're doing. So it's equally as important that we spend time not just doing, but we stop and reflect so we can have gratitude to move forward. So that is what we want to do for 2024. So our productivity quick tip for this week is thinking about 2025. Let's think about being thankful moving forward. So we're going to talk about and we're going to identify what are some steps we can take for intentional thankfulness for a productive 2025. So what we want to do is we want to create a process and think about what is a process you can commit to. I would say at least once a month, that you're going to take time. I would say at least a half hour, 15 minutes if you must, but at least a half hour. And what you're going to do is you're going to create your 2025 thankful document. And think about this as your gratitude yearbook. And you can be creative. So you could create a document in a workbook, you could create it in Google Sheets, you could create it in a document, you could create it in a note on your phone. You could even create it if you want on a calendar. But the goal is to identify one place where you're going to track your gratitude moving forward in 25. Then after that, you want to start thinking about what are the things you want to ask yourself, or how do you want to look, how do you want to track being grateful in 2025? How do you want to track your accomplishments, your challenges, your projects, your successes, all of those things? Perhaps it's some gratitude prompts. There's some great things out there that you can ask yourself. Add a few prompts for each month so you can ask yourself, what were your biggest wins for the month? Who made an impact on you this month and why? What lessons did you learn? Think about the questions you might want to ask yourself. What small moments brought you joy or peace? Your goal is to think about taking time each month in 2025 to ask yourself how you're doing in the year so we can be filled with gratitude and increase our productivity. It's also important to highlight personal and professional moments. So the whole idea of being gratitude and thinking about being thankful for ourselves is that we're not just doing it for one area of our life, but we're doing it everywhere. So we do want to think about what are some of the milestones in our personal lives as well? What are the milestones, the things we want to celebrate? Whether it's, hey, I finally finished this project that I'd been wanting to do. Hey, I finally got the backyard finished, right? Whatever it could be. Hey, I finally finished the kitchen, or maybe it's I finally finished a project, or I finally finished something creative. But you want to highlight those moments. Could be interactions with colleagues or people like that. So you want to identify where you're going to track your gratitude in 2025. You want to identify what you're going to capture, and capturing some of those, again, those moments that you'll be proud of. Then you want to actually follow through. Now, this is the money making step. We talk always about the money making step being when you actually do it. So when you actually complete the check in. So the next step is you want to identify time monthly. So, for example, one of the times that I do this is the first Sunday of the month. I always schedule because I do my weekly check ins on Sundays. And so I add for the first Sunday of the month, I add a half hour because then I can look at the month before. And so think of what works for you. It might not be the first Sunday, but obviously you want it to be after the month has passed. Or you just want to look at that time period again to celebrate. You want to think about gratitude milestones. Again, if you had an event, if you had a project, I have a friend that's putting on a huge fundraising effort that's going to be in June, and so he's been working on it for about 8 months already in 2024. And so something at the end of June when he's finished with that, that's a milestone. If you've reached something personal, if you've learned a new skill, a new tool, think about all of the tools and apps. And in your gratitude documentation, wherever you track, one of the things I would always recommend is that you keep a list of the tools, the apps, the programs, and the resources that you've learned how to use. Have you ever sat down and written down a list of all the tools you've used? It's impressive. The reason we want to do these things is so that we're able to have a place where we're reflecting, where we're looking back for lessons learned so we know what we liked, right? The goal of gratitude is find what we like and continue doing that. And so that is one of the things we want to do with being intentional with being thankful in 2025. One thing I always recommend, it is important for you to have fun and be creative. Remember, this is for you. All of us are going to create our own thankful processes. All of us are going to celebrate gratitude in a system that works for us. The goal of tonight is to think about, what does that look like? What steps are you going to take? One thing I find important, having a reflection space, having a place that I can sit and I can relive, I can think about it. And then also in previous months that I'm able to reflect back on them. So always leave a little bit of space so you can go back and reflect in the future. And then the most important thing, to be creative and to have fun. The most important thing is I want to encourage you to take time again to be intentional, to say, what is it that I want to look at? Instead of just a spreadsheet, do I maybe want to create a journal? I will be honest with you. I have a journal that I use, and I use it with stickers on the regular and keep track of memories and all kinds of things. So it's important that we take time to find what works for us. I like my journal and it works for me, and that's what I'm able to update. And I do use a lot of stickers and markers and things that make me happy. And that's one of the way I track and I'm able to enjoy the experience. It's important for you to do the same thing. It's important for you to take time to find, how can I track my successes, my wins? How can I track what I've been doing so that it helps me to be grateful? All of this, again, falls under that idea of being thankful because, again, in our world, so much is happening and the next thing is already there that we rarely have time to stop and reflect and be thankful for what we've been doing and be thankful for the life we've worked so hard to create. When you think about it, we've all worked really hard, so we want to enjoy it. It is important to be grateful. It is important to enhance productivity, and it is important that we do it through intentional reflection. Being intentional with your gratitude isn't just about feeling good. It's about empowering your productivity, recognizing your achievements, and what you're thankful for can sharpen your focus. It can boost your motivation and strengthen your mental clarity. Think of it as a workout for your mind. Better results one grateful moment at a time. I'll be honest with you. Well, I might not like working out the other way. This way I'll work out. This is something I can do. So I want to encourage you and I want to recommend that you take time at this juncture of our year where we are, where tomorrow is American Thanksgiving. And so we are at the end of November. So we've had 11 months of 2024. We have 1 month to go. It's important to be grateful and look back for 2024. Then it's equally as important that we look forward and say, how are we going to be grateful? What are some of the gratitude forward tips? What is the intentional thankfulness we're going to be on fire for in 25 so that, again, we can be more productive? I'll ask you, the last time you were bummed, the last time you were stressed, are you as productive when you're focusing on that as you are when you're thinking of what you're thankful for and looking at the positives and looking at what you've done? So today, as we're talking about gratefulness, as every week, I always have a goal that you learn at least one good thing, one thing you can take from this presentation and put into your life tonight, tomorrow, or even Friday. I hope that you, with this chance and with this time of talking about being productive, being intentionally grateful and thankful for your time, I hope you've learned something. I hope you'll take this with you. And I hope that you will look back and realize how powerful your 2024 is, how much you did do, how much you accomplished, and how much you overcame. Because once you look at that, I think you're going to be as proud of yourself as I am of you. I want to thank you for being with us today. Again, my name is Megan. I am your very favorite strategic productivity partner. You are joining us on USA Global TV and Radio. You can find us on the YouTube channel every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Pacific. You can also like, subscribe, and be notified of new episodes that are coming out and when they'll be there. I would also recommend that you check out the website because there's some other great programs that you can learn from as well. I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for being here. And I want to just say, next, I want you to be thankful for yourself. And I hope you have a great rest of your week. And now, a word from our sponsors.
Hello, I'm children's author Diane Floyd Bain, and I am co-host for several of the USA Global TV and radio shows. I joined because of the purpose of the USA Global TV and radio. They provide content for the viewers and listeners, an opportunity for people around the world to have their own show or even be a guest on an existing show. We truly believe in helping others get their positive message out to the world. We also have the opportunity for the listeners. You can watch on several platforms, and on YouTube, you can ask questions and even give a comment. We absolutely love it. I love being part of the USA Global TV and radio because I love positive messages, and who doesn't? And we need more of that in the world. We are a family, and we hope you will join us and become part of the family too.
face daily cyber risks, spending over 7 hours of screen time, including 4.5 hours on mobile phones. This convenience comes with significant dangers, with cybercrime costs predicted to exceed $10.5 trillion by 2025. In 2023 alone, seniors lost over $3.4 billion to cybercrime. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, senior living facilities, investment companies, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We offer real-life examples to help you recognize and prevent attacks, with sessions available both in person, in selected regions, and remotely. Schedule your training session, or to learn more, contact us today. Call us at 847-845-9360. Email us at info@cybersecurity.easy.com. Protect your team and family with cybersecurity.easy.com.
My name is Dr. Felix Kravitz, and I am the founder of CybersecurityEasy.com, LLC. We live in a world full of vulnerabilities and cyber risks. We spend almost 4.5 hours a day on our mobile phones. It's over 7 hours of screen time daily when including computer use. We often forget that this convenience comes with risks. Published data predicts that the cost of cybercrime will exceed $10.5 trillion in 2025. These numbers encompass not only businesses, but also each one of us, including our children and our parents. In 2023, the FBI reported over $3.4 billion lost by seniors aged 60 and older. CybersecurityEasy.com LLC's initiative is to massively support the community by providing cyber safety coaching and improving social engineering awareness. Our goal is to make social engineering concepts of cybersecurity easier to understand. We work with business teams, seniors, and educational institutions, both individually and in groups. We cover various topics, from phone phishing attacks to AI-generated voice cloning, robocalls, password protection, and more, using life examples. Talk to us today. Call us at 847-845-9360 or email us at info@cybersecurity.easy.com.